Welcome to this times live stream for a moment. I'm sorry about being late. I had technical issues with OBS crashing, and so sorry about that. Uh, Today, well, first of all, Moment is a no-code full stack web app development platform, and today the topic is that we're going to go through how we built momen.app using Moment. So we'll go through some components, how certain effects were set up, and uh, we will also go through, some how data is bound and certain backend processing things. Okay, so without further ado, let's start. So this thing is the Moment website. You can see there's striking similarity between those two. Obviously, you got this thing that says access banner, which it in the runtime it'll be replaced by whatever dynamic content that we want to show here. So in this particular case, it's just showing blah. And also it would take you, right, the entire thing, hopefully, would take you to an external link. And also we have like a log action. We won't go into log this time, but this is essentially how we take people to different places. And this thing says bound to global data, banner go to link. Well, how's that set up? That's actually set up it's in here. If I remember correctly, somewhere in here. Where's my global data? Flicker through this. Where's my global data? Okay. Forgot how to, oh, here we go. I was staring right at it, sorry. So the access banner is a text, right? And then go to link would take you to Luma. Right, so that's how that part is set up. Now going a bit down, somebody might wonder, like, how do you do this effect? When you hover, this thing shows up, right? So the idea is every single UI element has two states. It has a normal state and a hover state. Somewhat similar to how Framer does it. As we said, we really wanted to be Bubble but married to Framer and and other things. Oh, hi Jojo. The editor looks great. Yes, we are fairly proud of it. Spend a lot of money on it. So the editor is about, like, I would say 4 man years. Yeah, 4 man years of like 10,000 engineering hours, maybe a little bit more than that. Not counting the other support. Can you create Web3 with Phantom Wallet? If that thing, I'm not an expert, but if that thing provides an API that you can connect to, yes. Okay, so how's that done? Right, this guy has the state here. Sorry, this is the state. So you can edit the state. It has two states. It's a normal and hover. But actually, I don't want this guy over here. I want a big one. I think it is the one more above. No, the title view. Forgot which one that is. There is supposed to be like the stuff that yeah, the hover view. Okay, here we go. So this should come off this, which, okay, here we go. So this is how it does it. Whenever you hover over something, it actually shows the hover view, which is this entire thing, right? But if you look at the normal view, So currently we are looking at the normal view. It is kind of odd that we have like this thing side by side because it's hard to tell which one's which. But the reason this doesn't show up without being hovered over is you can look at the overflow. Okay, the overflow is actually visible. Do we have something? We had this is the normal view. Sorry, this thing is built by my marketing team. So I'm not an expert on how this is set up. I'm also pretty bad. If you have watched my previous live streams, I'm pretty bad with the whole UI thing. So let's see. The idea is that you would turn off the overflow to not visible, but yes, overflow hidden. Okay, that's the whole idea. The this entire thing, which we should really show the structure here, is not just that. It has this entire thing here, and so it wouldn't have an overflow. So the thing that's it actually exists. This entire thing that you can't see, it actually exists, and then you when you're not hovered over, you just can't see it. And in this case, the overflow is visible, so the entire this is actually. So let me select over here. Yeah, this is a UI problem. So this guy, let's see if I can select this. Okay, so this is really bad, but we actually have 4 views here. It's one here, and then the invisible guy that you can see over here, and then the products. Once you select hover, we go up. It actually has another one. So you only set it up once, right? So just to show you how this would look like, we'll create one so that it's more obvious. I'm just gonna create one from the start. This is JYK's test. Okay, so the idea is you have a guy here, and then oh no, I want I want a view. Okay, and within it you have 2 states, and then we have a title here, and then you got yourself let's see, we call this the fake hover over thing, and let's make it bigger so we can see the effect. Multiple lines, and maybe 35, and line height would be 45. Okay, that's good enough. This one will make it slightly bigger too, 35, and we'll make the line height 45. All right, that's good. Now this thing would only be that size, and it has 2 states, and then in hover state we'll just make it visible, and in the normal state we will make the overflow hidden. Okay, now we go back. Yeah, and then if you look at the mirror, by the way, is a faster way of I am horrible at this. Let's see. Did I do this? That's overflow hidden. Yeah, that's right. And this entire thing's overflow is, sorry, that will be visible. This is hidden. This is visible, visible. Okay. Yeah, that's how it's done. So you can see how this is basically when you hover over, this fake hover over thing shows up. Right, that's the idea. I don't quite know if I'm selecting the right thing or the wrong thing here because I didn't set it up. Sorry. Okay, so that's first thing that I would like to show you. Secondly, how you build something that kind of sticks at the top. So you can see once we scroll down, this stuff is stuck at the top. It's quite simple actually. You just make it make the positioning to be absolute. So the nav view, which is this entire thing on top, and also you have like a top model, which is this guy, the access banner, right? So that entire thing is going to be fixed, and then you can, once it's fixed, you can like select how far it is from the left or the right of your container box, which in this case is the entire desktop. So the width of this desktop thing is going to be at most 1000. Well, it's actually no, I'm wrong. So the width of it can be as far as it goes. Right, so this is how it looks like, and then let's do a simple test. So we'll have now we get out of here. We'll build something similar, and you can see the mirror automatically updates, right? So this is one of the nicer things of Moment compared to other tools, because well, this is what you get out of React. We're just exposing that for you. Let's put on something that let's put on something. I guess just an image would be fine. Nah, the image is not fine. We'll do a view. So I think view is an F. Yes, view is an F. There's a bunch of hotkeys that you can use. All right, we'll do width 100%. Height, it doesn't matter. Positioning, we'll make that. I think this can be smaller. Yes, it's now smaller. The layout, it should be fixed, and then it will be stuck to the left and stuck to the top. And then let's, just for giggles, let's make it slightly transparent. Okay, where's the transparency? Okay, transparency, I don't know, 40. And we'll make it some strange color. You can judge me on my color choices. I am a backend guy in the end. All right, then in order to show that it kind of stuck in the top and then you can see the translucent effect, I am going to put in a ton of text, which is going to be very... Also, you can see this thing is now stuck at the top, right? We want it to be like start showing after this. So one of the hacks that you can do is just copy and paste and make that thing completely transparent, 0%, and make it well, no longer fixed, just relative, and then the size would be the same and the height would be exactly the same of the thing. So whenever you put maybe I should give it a different name. We call this the placeholder view, and this guy will just call it the top bar, and my text is the super long text. Okay, our super long text should be here, now you can see that because we can't scroll yet, but now you can see that the text is right beneath the hovering, the thing that's hovering over it. Okay, and then with the super long text, we'll make it large, and we'll make it narrow so that it goes multiple lines. Let's see, we'll go with yeah, 180 pixels seems good enough. Then I'll copy in a bunch of text from, let's get a lorem ipsum. Give me lorem ipsum. All right. Fantastischer. Lorem ipsum. Whatever. Yee! Okay, cool. So now this scrolls. You can see that how this scrolls, but the top part doesn't, which is the same effect as this. Okay. So now we're done with the fake hover over thing. Let's go to the next one. So going down from here, we have this carousal thing, which kind of just moves from one thing to the other. The idea is that, oh, this is actually fairly cool. Yeah, we used to have issue with the width of the button. I guess our marketing engineer has fixed it. Again, the entire thing has no like R&D support. It's just marketing team handles the entire thing, right? Whenever they need to change something, we don't get involved. We're just a tool builder, as in the actual R&D engineering team. So the way we do this is we have a select view over here, and then I think that's how it's done, right? If I got it wrong, then that's another issue. And then the bottom, this is just a conditional view. So let's see if that's how it's built. This thing is a data eclipse view. Okay. What is an eclipse view? That's a fancy name. Eclipse image. Oh, that's just the image behind it. It's this halo thing. Data, yeah, conditional. Oh, the entire thing. Okay, I see. The entire thing is a conditional case. So what about this guy? Oh, it is a select view. Yes, so I am correct. I know my product. Could you guess? So the idea of a select view is that it can output its current selection to the entire page, right? And then the this thing here is just a conditional. That's just a conditional container. If you go up, if you keep going up, editor, yeah, that's just a conditional container. And holy hell, they're doing something fairly crazy. If I were to do it, I would have like a single select view here, but he built 3. That's not ideal. But anyways, the idea is that you would have this conditional container, which will go up and, oh, sorry. Where's my conditional container? Yes. It will have many cases. You can look at, I really need to be good at selecting this. It has like 3 states. You can select its parent, but I'm somewhat okay. So what does this do? Here we go. You now go into this conditional containers select view, so you can like focus mode, so you can just focus on the actual container. And then here you have 3 cases. Each of them has a well, it's a case. It shouldn't say config, but what does it do? it says if on the page the thing that's selected, the on the page there's a thing called editor type, which is a bad name, but it's just a variable on the page. And if it's equal to data, you would show the data case. If it's equal to logic, you show the logic case. If it's equal to design, it shows the design case. Simple enough. And the idea is that this is in order actually. This is more like a switch. So anytime, well, it's a switch plus a break. So anytime you encounter in this sequence a condition that's met, the entire thing just aborts, right? And then we'll return that particular case. So if you had another one here, say you made a mistake, that says this is equal to data, you would not hit this case because data is tested first. You actually get the first data case, not the design case, even if you set this value here to data. And loading is just something in case your data is an asynchronous thing that comes from the backend before you have available data. When you would wait and show that loading screen. It's more of a user experience thing. Okay, and so that's fine and dandy, but how does it actually change, like automatically play, right? Because this thing would just play on its own. It would switch in different cases. That is built on a timer, as many of you would have expected. Where's my timer? Yeah, here we go. Scheduled job. Every 5,000 milliseconds, you would run into this condition. So idea is, okay, if it's data, it goes to logic. Ta-da! If it is logic, well, then it goes to design. If it's design, it goes to data. So one thing you might have noticed that this thing lacks an idea of an enum, or in Bubbles lingo, they call it option sets. And that's something we are trying to fix. It's a very expensive investment because that goes into our type system, and it has like it would do. It's almost like it's a big revamp, but it's a necessary thing that we think people should have access to. So that's in the works. Okay, so that's how you do carousal. Next thing, we have these. Well, this is just either a GIF or something. What the hell is this? It's not a GIF. It's not a GIF. It's a what do you call this thing? WebP. WebP allows you to show animations too. So, and one thing we are not doing is SEO alt text. We should really do that because it helps a lot with SEO rankings. So for any image that has semantic meaning, just put it in. For example, in here, I would say like screen capture, like screen capture of how. Oh, I have a network issue. Whoops. Maybe it's all the streaming. I can't make any changes. Anyways, I have network issue. So when you do have network issue, you're only allowed to make 10 changes, and then you're done. You can't like we will stop you from making any more changes. Otherwise, you might end up with conflicts that you don't expect. Well, the likelihood of that happening will be higher. Okay, so animations. Where's our animations? This is not an animation, by the way. This is just animated image. Here, this thing. You can see that appears, right? Now, how does that work? This is like one of the simplest thing to explain. I think this is the one. Yeah, here we go. That's all it does. You can have different things while scrolling, mouse hover, mouse click, and blah. So to show how this works, we'll go back to our fancy JY case test. Maybe we'll do something here. Animations, let's just do something that's more, yeah, let's do, I don't know, glow. I don't know what it does, by the way. Yeah, I have no freaking idea what this does. This is all, you would say this is all Chinese to me, but I would have to find some other expression. So what happens when I click? Whoa! Okay, so okay, yes. So when you click, it does some crazy stuff. Yes, that. And what about next? Next thing we want to do is no, there are some other fancier. Well, I don't know if it's fancy, but it's just this thing kind of just scrolls in, and this thing scrolls in, and you can have things coming out. This heavy load handling thing comes in from the side, so I guess that's worth mentioning. So let's go to our heavy load. Where's our heavy load? Wait. Extensibility, security, and growth. I think he has. Oh, here, heavy load handling. Yes, this guy. I'm pretty sure it has a animation effect somewhere. While yes, so this thing would slide in. It would appear from the left top at a distance of 150 pixels. I'm just reading off it. What looks better? I don't know. Maybe in the future we'll have like an AI agent, not even an agent, just some kind of AI co-pilot that says, give me animation that looks good while scrolling. Because that would be very helpful for people like me, because I don't possess such abilities. And here we have these things that kind of just become bigger. I think that's on hover. That's an on hover here. Yes, on hover grow. Yes, it grows. It grows. And yeah, that's like the first screen, which explains most of all the visual things, because there isn't really much of dynamic data in here. And one of the interesting things is that you can see we do have mobile things. So if you make it, where are we? Elements. If we make it mobile, okay, can I make it to? How do I set up? I have a mobile S, whatever. So that you can do this, and then it would change. How do we do this? Let's get it back. I don't really like mobile stuff. Well, we have some kind of inheritance going on. So once you have configured stuff on the main breakpoint, which is the left one, if you don't change anything, it kind of just flows over to your mobile thing, and you can see the ID of this guy. It's like 4314 is the same as the ID of this guy, I think. Yeah, so that means they are the same component. So you don't really have to redo everything. You might want to redo certain things, like this guy over here probably does not exist here. So what do we have? DD19, and this guy is that's a different component, right? Because your menu bar is completely different. So how do we do that? How do you remove things that are on the main breakpoint but not in here? So let's do that. Your historical purpose is now gone. We will make you just hello. So you shrink. Yes, that shrunk. Actually, simple. then we can just make it disappear. Let me see how to make it disappear. Well, first of all, you can actually override everything here. So you can just say that instead of saying hello, you would say, bye, right? And I am. Wait, hold on. That is odd. That's not supposed to happen. That is not supposed to happen. Let me get rid of this. And here. Huh. Okay, this tells you that I don't know my product. I'm sorry. That's a horrible accusation that one can give to someone who spent the last 5 years developing this stuff. I will have to consult my marketing engineer on how to use this. But the idea is you can have different layouts. That is very strange. That is very, very strange. Yeah, it's not supposed to carry over. It's supposed to be one way. Okay, we'll leave it at this. I'll figure out what the problem is, and I'll like what I used to do. I'll leave the explanation on the pinned comment of the chat for YouTube. Okay, so other things like data processing, right? So a corporate website has more than just visuals. For example, you might want to collect information, and in our case, that is in here, I think. No, not in here. Excuse me. Let me peruse over this and then figure out which one. Oh, somebody misspelled solutions. Yeah, somebody misspelled. Okay, so I think this is the one. Yes, this guy. Okay, so this is a fairly complex form that's fairly common for collecting information from prospective customers. And you may want to do a bunch of checks. And there are a couple ways that you can do that. In our case, we used an Actionflow to do the check on the back end. And the page is called what? Expert. Okay, so this is the expert page. We just got this thing here. These are just simple text inputs, right? And they have their own names, so you can know what you did. And then here is a submit button. It's just a button. There's nothing fancy about it. If you open it up, it will switch a case to schedule job. Oh, that's a fancy way of dealing with it as well. You didn't have to do this. It could just be a submission, right? And then I don't particularly know why he did it this way, but I'm guessing it has something to do with reusability, which is one of the areas that we lack as well. That's being fixed because, oh yeah, it's here. Because currently on the front end, you can copy and paste, but you cannot. This doesn't look nice. I'll make it slightly bigger. Yes. So the idea is that in order to reuse something, that thing has to exist independently of the thing that triggers it. In this case, this is the trigger, and you may want to trigger from multiple places. So you want like an independent place for it to exist. So in the hack that our marketing engineer deployed is to have scheduled jobs that never run, and then just yeah, and then just have something to trigger it. Okay, so what does this actually do? It's somewhat fancy, right? If the situation is done, then it would stop itself from running, and it will switch the the button from from unclickable to clickable, and then it would set some data to number of runs. So it would actually change the condition. It's dependent on P10. This guy would set it to 10, and this one is like if it's not 0, right? So it kind of switches between those two states. And in this case, it would disable the I forgot what this does. Oh, shouldn't. I would reduce it by 1. Okay, it's like oh, I see what it's trying to do. It's trying to do a debouncing. It's you're not supposed to click the button more than once every 10 seconds. Jesus, there's a lot of fancy hacks going on here. Okay, so if the thing is equal to 9, it would then trigger like a success view, and then otherwise it would trigger a fail view. So it's actually fairly involved. So once we and sorry, there's another thing. This is the core. This is where you do all the checks. This actually goes on the backend. So all the checks in here goes onto the backend, which the thing is called project form. So let's take a look at what project form does. Wait, it's not loading. Is it the loading? It is loading, yeah. Project form. So it uses some JavaScript to determine whether things are valid or invalid. And what it does is it takes a bunch of input, which is exactly the thing that's passed in here. So every single one of them is going to be an input to your workflow. And then you would, oh, fancy. Okay, so in order for the things to be easier to write, he defined himself a local function that's input. So that's very fancy. Jesus, there's a lot of fancy stuff that I didn't know existed. So you would get these inputs by the name, and then you would check whether things exist. If they don't, you have a missing field thing that you would maintain in here. And here he has very nicely put out in Chinese that we have to check for the email format. Check email format. And this is the regex, the regular expression for a valid email, and then we would test that, and then if something are wrong, the message is then constructed. So that's like the no-code part, sorry, the low-code part of Moment. And once it's done, you now essentially have two outputs. Well, you have either the actual output itself, or you have like the failure, right? So if the result is like a invalid input, then we would sorry, if it's a valid input, we would get the project table out, and then depending on whether we already have this person, we would, if we don't already have the user, we would create that user and then put in the message, and then send an email to our This is just a API call. So that triggers a robot, that triggers a message in our corporate instant messaging app. And otherwise, it just tells you that you've already submitted something and please, just directly contact us and stop submitting more forms. And if the input is invalid, well, the message is returned, and then the is success is now false. And in the output, you have either you have both the message and whether the form submission is successful. So that's like a fairly full blown form checker. It also runs on the back end, so there's no worries about people hacking it on the front end. Okay, and one last thing I would like to show you is we do have a bunch of these, right? So well, actually, two more things I would like to show you. One's like some kind of tracking. So in well, obviously in SEO you can like do a bunch of stuff. This is just a place for you to look at things. You can set them up on each page. So for example, in here, this guy is probably an H1. This one doesn't have any. So what about this one? Yeah, not fully done. Let's call it that way. But the homepage should be better. That's an H2, right? Set those up correctly. That would help your SEO efforts. And next thing is you want to track things. You want to track, for example, page views and all that stuff. We use Plausible. So you can inject scripts in here. Okay, so we have a Reddit ads tracking thing, and we have a post hog, and we have Plausible. So because we've connected Plausible, we can see how our wow, we have a one current visitor. That's probably me. Um, you can see the page views, unique visitors, total visits, and total page views, and all that. There is a huge peak. That's because we had like we were product hunt day of the product of the day #1 on the 17th. Um, so there's like a huge spike, and it's pretty nice. You guys should try out Plausible. It tells you it's like a good alternative from GA. It tells you like where your thing comes from, where the people visit. Things kind of make sense. Most of our users look at our homepage. Otherwise, they look at our pricing, and then people get interested in AI, so they do that. And a bunch of people came from Product Hunt because Product Hunt. Um, and who's this? The Rundown AI? I don't know who that is. That's very interesting. Never seen this guy. 1.3K visitors. Somebody important, I guess. Okay, so you can put things here. These are like this is a place where you put in these code snippets that a lot of these developer tools would give you. And last thing, finally, is we do have a bunch of data. For example, the export forms and stuff, right? We don't really want people to mess with it. They can submit, but we don't want you to modify it. So one of the simple things is you just turn off access control. Like, for example, anonymous user, people who haven't signed in, which is most of the users for a corporate website. You're not supposed to do anything. Like for example, education form, yeah, you can submit a request to do things, but you're not supposed to edit whatever you submitted. You can't see what people submitted. You can't delete anything. You can't count on things. You can't do any of the aggregations, right? So that's like pretty brute force way of dealing with it. And also, maybe we should Yeah, this is actually properly set up. So you can run certain APIs, and you can run certain action flows, but like a lot of those you're not supposed to touch. Right? We don't have an AI set up in here, so it doesn't really matter. And if you have if you're a logged in user, then you get slightly more. I think in here you get, where do we have? Obviously you get more access to your account, and then I think this is not properly configured, but it kind of just okay, yeah, it's not properly configured. As a logged in user, you probably shouldn't be able to edit other people's account. So the way you set it up is like logged in user's ID is equal to the current row ID. You are not supposed to change anyone else's stuff. And maybe no, you can't change ID in our case, so that doesn't really matter. This is good enough. And in terms of create, well, maybe you shouldn't be able to create accounts either, so just turn it off, will be fine. Okay, and related posts, you can read and count them. Is there something interesting that oh, by the way, because this has so many tables, we're introducing like a search thing that allows you to filter all these tables, because once you get to like 40, 50, or we've had people that had 100 tables. So yeah, it gets really long, and without a search function, it's horribly difficult to use. Yeah. So yes, you would stop people from accessing things that they are not supposed to have access to in here. And in terms of logging, we log in. We have our own SSO, so we actually use our own OAuth. But you can follow the standard and then do your own SSO here, or you could just use Google or Facebook. Okay, and is there anything else that people are interested in, have questions about? Sorry for being late for a few minutes, because I was trying this fancy thing that would push OBS to, the stream to multiple endpoints, and then it crashed my OBS, and I had to get it back up. Yeah, so everything that you see on momen.app is built on Moment, and then things like this, you might think we have to change a bunch of stuff over here. Not really. The only difference is that this guy is narrower, so you can see this is going from top to bottom, but because it only sorry, this, yeah, so this is from left to right. So each one of these views would go from, you can see there's a free view, there's a basic view, the pro view, and the enterprise view. And very similarly here, you would have the free view, except have the four views. The four views are actually identical. The only difference is that the layout directions are different. It's top to bottom instead of left to right. So when you are narrow, when your screen is narrow, it starts flowing top to bottom. Anything else that's fancy that is worth discussing? Let's see. We used to have this blog thing, which has a bunch of lists, but it was too much of a hassle to maintain. So a good practice is that you always try to find a good SaaS that's priced correctly for you. And only if that thing does not satisfy your needs, build something on your own. We built our blog, but then we had to build out the entire like editing thing, which is a pain. So in the end, we were like, screw it, let's integrate something else. So that's that's one way of dealing with things. Okay, time for questions. Anyone questions? Somebody said I can hire you to create a Web3 website with Phantom Wallet connection. Well, you can't really hire me per se or Moment because um, we'll be dedicating that out to developers. We can hook you up with them, but we wouldn't be doing them ourselves because our job is really to make the platform more robust. And then, as you can see, there are a couple of things in the platform that's still difficult to do. Um, yeah, and we want to make that as nice as possible, especially like the two that I mentioned, lack of enums and the lack of front end reusability. Oh yeah, the way you get around the front end reusability is that you would have this thing which you would have you use on every single page. You can either save it. You could save it as a you can group save it as a, what is open? Oh, that's that thing. Okay, top is that custom. Okay, this is a conditional container. Okay, yeah, top is good. You could save as a custom component, so we'll call it my fancy thing, and that would take a few minutes to save. And you end up with a custom thing over here. So now if you had, I don't want to break this, so because this is actually our live product. So we'll create a new page called JYK test. What is page 20? Oh, page 20 is random useless stuff. And I can add in my thing. And then here we go. That's goes on the top. Unfortunately, if you were to want to change it, you can't. But you can, except like it doesn't propagate back into this, which is what I mean by the lack of reusability, because the idea is that you would be able to edit this so that everything that you copied from or reference this from is going to inherit that change, so you don't have to do the things over and over again. But for now, let me delete this. Can I delete this? No, I can't delete this. Oh, I can delete this. I can just delete this. My fancy thing is gone. And I shall remove my useless page as well. All right, now we're presented with another useless page that we're testing things out, I think. Okay, seems like there's no more questions from everybody. So, yeah, just, take a look. This is actually this is a template that you can use, I think. The SaaS corporate site, I think that's the one. Yes, that's actually us. So you can take a look at how we built it. This is slightly older than what we have because we didn't constantly update things to make the template match what we have. So you can see it doesn't match exactly, but most of the idea is there. You can reverse engineer it and figure out how things are built. It has most of the visual stuff that we can do. Okay, thank you very much for coming, and I hope this has been helpful. And if you have more questions, please leave them down in the comment below. And also, you can find us in our forum at forum.momen.app. We answer things very, very promptly. Let's call it that way. We have like monitors set up on this thing as well. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye bye.